Oh, there's a red button.
There you go.
But you ain't fooling me. What you talking about? You ain't fooling me, Flea. It ain't no disrespect.
Man, listen. When the shades come out, you know what time it is, man.
They should know what time it is, but they know what time it is when the motto appears. Or TV. You already know the motto. They scared, but I'm not. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. We're not excited enough. Actually, we're not. It's not exciting. Fabian perspective. Live and direct, Fabian Perspect. Blake told me to stick with that. Which one you like more, Flea? Live and direct, Fabian Perspect, or Fabian Perspective, expected to accept it?
Fabian perspective, expected, so accepted. Like, what are we talking? What are we doing right now? What are we talking about right now? What are we talking about right now?
Fabian Perspective, expected, so accepted. With my guy. Are we live?
Big Flay in the building. Let me make sure the camera's right. Let me make sure the camera's tight.
He's a young boy with an old soul, Flea is. Actually, he's like middle. Are you mid? No, I think I'm more of a middle age. Is it middle age? Mid age?
I think that's probably one of the most accurate depictions of who I am.
You're conflicted.
Definitely an old soul. No question. No question. But I could still mingle. I could still mingle around with the young boys. My goddaughter, right? Real quick. My goddaughter is about 25 now. She says to me, "Oh, come out to Houston and move around. Me and my homegirls." I said, "All right, cool. I'll show y'all around the city." She said, respectfully, that's the oldest thing I've ever heard somebody say. "I'm gonna show you around the city." I thought she made me feel so old, bro. So old. But I thought I could mingle around with the young folks. I can't do no more. So
what could you say? What are you supposed to say?
I don't know. Spin the block, move around. I don't know what the kids say these days. So
spin the clock is crazy.
I don't know. I don't know.
I ain't spinning no blocks with you kiddos. They shooting people on the train over here in New York. What the hell are people talking about?
Wildin'.
But we are gathered here, folks, for our guy, OG Anunoby. Boy, is this upsetting. It's starting to get on. It's getting on my nerves, man. OG Anunoby. Apparently, he's out again. Out against the Warriors of all teams. He's listed as out due to injury management of his right elbow, and Anunoby coming off elbow surgery was questionable prior to the New York Knicks win versus Sacramento Kings on Saturday. This is New York Knicks Fan TV from Ian Begley.
Yeah, big shout out, Knicks Fan TV. Big shout out.
Lloyd Banks in the comments. I thought everyone said he has to play through the soreness, and that's the only way it will get better. Thank you for your concern. It's called being cautious, being smart. Yes, we want him on the court, but the goal here is to get him feeling right and full goal for the playoffs. No managing him and having him sit here and there is fine. So you see some of the comments there. Fleetradamus. How do you feel about these comments? Do you agree with them? What's your reaction to just hearing OG Anunoby injury management off the elbow surgery?
Listen, I think this is par for the course for what's going on right now. He just had surgery. I think, let's break this down and keep it simple, break it down to the bare bones. The dude had a surgical procedure done. They cut him open, took bone spurs out, and that has to heal, right? There has to be a healing process that he has to go through. Now, we would have hoped that he went through the bulk of the healing process before we actually got him onto the floor, which I assume he did. But there's gonna be some managing with any kind of injury, especially after having surgery. You want him out there because at this point he's literally the anchor of our defense. The most important person you know, when it comes to how we attack teams defensively, when he's out there, you know, we're smothering teams. You know, we're smothering teams. And we don't even have Mitchell Robinson yet. But with him out there, like it changes everything in terms of how we attack teams defensively. You've seen what we've been doing in the month of March, especially getting him back, holding teams under 90, 91 points. You know, teams are not cracking 100 points against the Knicks, right? These teams kick, you know, these teams running up on everybody, but they come to the Garden and get beat the hell up. We are a physical basketball team, and I think that's in large part to what OG brings. But you know, in terms of his injury, I think that, you know, this is what we're gonna have to do for the next 15 games. Manage it, get him healthy, you know, get him to the point where when we are playing in the playoffs, you know, there are no back-to-backs. So there are always built-in days of rest when you're playing in the playoffs. So at that point now we in the stretch now where, you know, guys just have it built-in days and rest. And then, you know, after the first, you know, 2 games on the road, the first 2 games at home, now we get those 2 days built in, you know, of rest before we go on the road or before we come back home, or, you know, whatever, however it shakes out, you know, in terms of the playoffs. So, you know, if we can get, like I said, this last 15 games, I think I would love the Knicks to finish 10-5, you know, hit that 50 win mark. I think that would be beautiful for to us, you know, to hit that 50 win mark. But if we're gonna have to manage OG and the minutes played and games played, you know, to get to the finish line, for me, I'm pretty cool with that. And I think that's the smartest way to you know, to attack what we got going on right now.
Vibe shout. Every time we play the Warriors, they get a break. Yeah, that's what it feels like too.
It feels like that. Definitely does. They was just at the Garden a couple of weeks ago, right?
Yeah, we want to revenge on them, man. Like, we want to revenge on them. I can't front. I'm just, it's concerning for me. I don't care what they call it. It's always a risk. As soon as they said he had elbow, what do you call that? What do you call that?
Elbow tendonitis.
It's not tendonitis. It was elbow, a spur.
Yeah, or the bone spurs. Yeah.
Once you have a bone spur, and you telling me they having surgeries coming back in a month, a spur is not a random thing. It's like you gotta shave. That's the bone is growing. You gotta shave that thing off. You gotta cut it off. So to go in there and think you're just gonna clean it up. I mean, he's showing toughness. We like that about him, but it's still is a reason why we're concerned. For people to think that we're just, you know, I like Lloyd Banks in the comments for Knicks Fan TV account.
Big shout out to Lloyd Banks.
Big Queens, you know, for him to be concerned just like us, it's natural, you know. And I'm hoping I'm wrong. I'm hoping we're, you know, that we're all wrong. But we saw again the Kawhi Leonard comparison is starting to show a lot. Kawhi Leonard is
fully right defensively and not being able to play on the floor, right? And not stay on the floor. That's funny.
Yeah.
I don't want to attach that to OG yet, man. I don't want to attach that to him yet. He's not Kawhi. Not Kawhi. Not Kawhi. Let's be respectful to Kawhi. First of all, like, Kawhi's another tier of player, but I understand what you're saying.
I think it's another tier of player career-wise. He's earned accolades, but it's just far as potential skills, what we the on the court dominance, I don't really see a difference here.
Bugging.
It's
bugging. Stop you. Don't do this. We're live. We're live. We are live. There are people in here watching you. You have to be responsible right now. Do not be irresponsible because you are a Knicks fan. I understand. Be responsible, Fabian. Please do not do this right now. Please save this for offline. Don't do this right now. Don't do it. Please.
In terms of defense, offensively, Kawhi Leonard turned out to be. That's part of the reason why he's one of the greatest two-way players of all time. But just defensively, that come on, the LeBron meme when he looks back at a young Kawhi in the middle of the finals, he's like,
Like, damn.
The villain. There's
Yeah.
no way I'm this excited about OG Anunoby and the other teams are not feeling the same threat and a similar threat. He's just that disruptive, and we talked about it. So the comparison is there, Flea. It's there. Kawhi
That's fine. I just you know, I like to keep you even kill. You've been, you know, you've been jumping out with the faulty parachute every now and then, and sometimes we realize when you jump out there that you pull on the string, it doesn't come out, and then you just out there like, you know, let me just, you know, it's Kawhi Leonard. It's levels.
I don't think you need to talk to me while we're in the airplane. You don't need to convince me to stay on the airplane right now. You need to tell me, you know what? I like this jump because if Kawhi Leonard, come on now, we want these spurts to take place in New York City. We don't want you to abandon us like you did in San Antonio. We want you to abandon Toronto the way you did. Right. And you're in an upcoming free agent year. Hold on.
Wait. Well, he wants to be it.
Wait. Yes. He was CAA. He made the change in the summertime. Yes.
He wants to be it.
The similarity, aside from and he won a championship with Kawhi Toronto. This sliding doors effect. I'm sorry, New York Knicks fans. I'm getting into the conspiracy hat. It's on. Kawhi Leonard was traded to the Toronto Raptors.
Hold on. Let me put my seatbelt on because you
during a contract year. They were waiting for the end of the season. The taxes are way too crazy in Toronto. The taxes are crazy in New York. Don't tell me I don't have a reason to get nervous. This player empowerment, he can go wherever he wants. I'm pretty sure we can offer him the most. Injury prone, super defender, defensive player of the year. People have called him defensive player of the year. It's not just me when he's healthy. There's a lot to the Kawhi comparison here, is all I'm saying. I should make the thumbnail is gonna be what it is. OG in the mirror, looking at himself, which is Kawhi Leonard.
Oh Jesus! I knew it was coming. I knew it.
We just walked right through it, baby.
I knew it.
Dom is lucky he's not in there because I'll be roasting him and them Clippers. Kawhi, they're the best team in the league. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Fleet.
Listen, the Clippers is hitting a little slide right now. That was a bad loss. I think I told Dom that already. That was a bad loss last night. But yeah, I think we have to we definitely, to get back to what we were saying, we have to manage OG because of the effect that you're saying right now. Because he can affect the game defensively like a Kawhi Leonard. We have to have him healthy if we really want to make a run in these playoffs. And I think for the team that we have right now, you know, if we get everybody back ready to rock and roll, you kind of have to take advantage of this opportunity right now. Philly is hurt. You know, I think Boston is still vulnerable in terms of how we match up. And when they get punched in the mouth, they don't, you know, that I haven't seen them get up off the ropes after being punched in the mouth. They came back down 3-0 last year. Tatum got hurt. They didn't win game 7 on their home floor. I remember that. But what I'm saying is that I still see if you really outside and you really, like, you know what I'm saying, show up with the gang in them, Boston seems to still not have, you know, enough nuts yet to really like step to you and really let you know, like, nah, this is ours. I haven't seen it yet. So I still think, you know, fully healthy, we match up well with them. Milwaukee is starting, you know, and I think people need to start being honest about them. Milwaukee is starting to look like a different team in terms of how they're, you know, how they're rounded in the form. I think we need to be a lot concerned. I'll be honest. We need to be a lot concerned about playing Milwaukee in a 7-game series. But I think if the matchups fall right in terms of seeding and things like that, if we can seed a Boston in the second round, I'm okay with that. We see what happens. You know, we see what happens. Make it rough, make it tough for them. You know, find ourselves in the conference finals against a Milwaukee. I like our chances. I'm not calling a win, you know, because I do know in terms of who has the elite talent, it's definitely the Milwaukee Bucks. But in terms of like team-wise and who's gonna play the hardest every night, it's gonna be the New York Knicks every day of the week, twice on Sunday. So
I'm so pessimistic about the OG Anunoby. This is nothing new apparently for the Toronto Raptors. The only reason that Anunoby was even available to be drafted number 23 overall in 2017 was the fact that he tore his ACL during his final year in college at Indiana. The appendectomy. Wow. The appendectomy in 2019. It prevented him from being a part of the Kawhi Leonard-led championship run, right? His last 2 years have been brutal, with a combined 50 games since the start of 2020, 2021, with the calf injury hurting him for most of the year of last year. Anunoby has now suffered 2 bone injuries. Ujiri was a bit worried about the fact of the cornerstones of his master plan to rebuild his team has sustained significant knee, hip, calf, and appendix hand injuries before turning 25 years old. Or Ujiri should be just a bit worried. This is an article from 2 years ago about the Toronto Raptors. OG Anunoby on his latest injury, if he thinks he's snake bit, stuff happens. You can't control it. There are worse things that can happen. So he's very, optimistic since the entire time. And Anunoby has now sustained a serious injury in 3 of the last 4 seasons that should give the Raptors some cause for concern. With more mileage on that body, could the injuries keep increasing?
Perhaps. So, Fabian, you don't want to pay him? Let me just ask you flat out. You don't want to pay him?
I'll get to that in a second. Perhaps the decision to acquire Thad Young has influenced in part by OG's durability. He's an extremely talented player that has earned every penny of the multi-year extension, but his body has now started to betray him in a insignificant fashion lately. His future in Toronto is just a touch dimmer. Was there a part of this that I thought I read everything. He'll be reevaluated in 2 weeks after fracturing a finger. That's considering that OJ has not played 70 games in the season since his rookie year. His durability is being examined with a fine-tooth comb. Is there cause for concern? Right. Would I pay OG Anunoby? Hell yes. None of this would stop that. I think you're not going to supermax him. All these things give you a reason to negotiate against him.
He's not a supermax player.
I think he has supermax potential. I think when you affect the game like this, you're in a different category.
Like 300 million. That's what you're saying. Yeah. He's that type.
No, the injury stopped him from doing that. If he was fully healthy and he played every single game from when he got here, this conversation would be different. If he played every single game,
I would never think to pay him.
Why?
Because what his role on the team, what we expect out of him, what he brings, what he's brought in his career thus far, he has not shown to be a $300 million player. And I don't think that's being disrespectful. He's an excellent NBA player, 1,000% an excellent NBA player, a guy that deserves big money. But a super max, respectfully, no. He's not a guy that you can go get 25 a night from. That, again, like I said before, there's levels. And the comparison to Kawhi, that's where the buck stops. Because guess what? I can hand the ball to Kawhi right now and say, with the talent I have around me right now, and even before that, with different talent, here, Kawhi, go get me 25 a night and take me here. Take me home. I don't think OG doesn't have that. So that's a lot of money to. I'm not reducing him to a 3-and-D guy, but a lot of what he does is in the in the ballpark of just being a 3-and-D guy. So I don't think you spend that kind of money on that type of player. Again, not being disrespectful to who OG is as a pro.
I think it starts with the fact that we disagree on who's most valuable on the team, who's more important, especially when the vision now is, again, Tom Thibodeau, defensive style coach, and you have your player here. When Mitchell Robinson was healthy, he was the identity of the team because He's a defender, a super defender, offensive rebounder, and now you're continuing the style of play that Thibodeau wants. But he's nowhere near the star player that epitomizes the team, the style of play that you're looking for. OG is. And when you combine that together, especially when you get the results, it's not like we didn't see any results. We're looking at the results and we're going, oh, this is a championship team? This is
15 and
crazy.
2. 15 and 2 with
The,
OG.
and if he's there the entire time, the whole league is scared. Everybody's scared. And I think, the article we just read, Toronto and they've been had, causes for concern. Rudy Gobert had a supermax deal the last time when he signed, when that was available. And even he gets, questioned for as being, that impactful on the court. You can play him off the court with certain plays or whatever it is. But to me, it's like, if he's healthy, we ain't never questioned Rudy Gobert's health. That's part of the reason why he earned a supermax deal. Because like you always say, availability, best ability. That's what's going to hinder this. That is the major reason why we don't want to give you anywhere near a supermax deal, OG Anunoby. Period. But to me, talent-wise, you just as great as someone can be on offense, anybody in the league is on offense. That's what I've seen from OG on defense. And then it's crazier because the little bit that whatever he provides on the offensive end, that 3 to 6 point swing per 2 possessions, that's different. That's just a different. You pay that guy whatever it takes because they're gonna take you. They cause stops at the end of a game, at the end of a shot clock, and the halftime. They change the momentum of the game at any given time. Those are to me the biggest playmakers in NBA history. Are the two-way guys that can call swings like that and control the foul line, of course.
I totally agree, but I still can't get on board with super maxing my guy out. Pause, but definitely give him some big money. We got to pay.
I think we do agree about that.
Yeah.
Cameron Goldberg, do you think OG learned some things from Kawhi when he was on the? Wait, are you saying? Because my brain is going, Flea. Did you learn some tricks?
I think he's being serious.
Hold on, let me wait. Did you learn some tricks from Kawhi about a scam the NBA through injuries?
No, that's not what. Read what Cameron said. You see, spin. You see, that's the epitome of spinning some shit. Read what the brother Cameron Goldberg has said. Big shout out to Cameron.
Do you think OG learned some things from Kawhi when he was on the Raptors?
Not what you interpret. Answer the brother's question.
I think you could. I think he's OG comes off like such a smart dude. I would think the way he plays. Yeah, and it looks like he watches tape. It looks like he looks like a scientist. He comes off like a scientist. He just does. I don't know if it's again. We'll get to that in a second. But there has been a podcast that was announced, right? And that's what I'm excited about when listening to that. The Kobe Bryant when he was talking about basketball. Mm-hmm. I don't know. We haven't heard OG break down the game yet, but just he's pretty eloquent, right? He speaks very well.
I think I mean, just watching him, I think he's a smart basketball player. Guys hoopers that move without the basketball, that are not super ball dominant, but affect the game still, right? Guys that find themselves always open. All of those kind of things are skills. So I think he's a super smart player. You have to be smart in terms of knowing how to play defense, especially on-ball defense. So he's a super, super smart player. Just because I haven't heard him talk the game doesn't mean that, when I'm watching what he's doing on the basketball court, I think he, just flat out, he gets it. Some guys don't, some guys do, and some guys don't. Big shout out everybody in the comments. Just Knicks.
Just Knicks, what's going on, baby? GM's in Land Empire. I don't think I've seen you in a while. Your Malachi the Don is in the
building.
Danny Berry, of course.
DB.
So, but we agree about OG.
Yeah, I think we pay him.
We agree he learned some things from Kawhi Leonard. Glasses are off. Knicks Rehab is done for me. But stay in the building. Why? Is Kyrie Irving the best, the most skilled player of all time due to that left-handed jump hook over the Joker? How big of a deal was it? Is he the most skilled player ever? How do we react to him, the Dallas Mavericks, Flea?
I'm getting so tired of like having to stamp somebody such and such ever. This person is this and this ever. This person is this and this ever. Like, that's getting a little annoying. But listen, I don't want to be old man. I don't want to be old man. Get off my lawn right now. We can have some fun with this. He is one of the most skilled players ever. Like I said, one of the most skilled players ever. Everything that he does on the basketball court requires an elite level of skill. Being able to finish with both hands around the rim, knowing the angles on the rim, the way he does it. You know what I'm saying? This is the dude that talked about growing up and, you know, the backboard on the backboard at his crib had a hole in it. So having a hole in the backboard, he had to finesse and finagle the English on the basketball a certain way to make different kind of shots. Like, so the way he handles the ball obviously is, you know, one of the best handles, if not the best handle we've ever seen in the game. Shot making ability, you know, being able to, you know, shoot 50, 40, 90 at that position, right? Be efficient. We've seen plenty of guards be just inefficient guards, just chucking up shots, be high volume shooters and not shoot a high percentage. This dude shoots a high percentage from the field, a high percentage from three, and he's a bucket from the line, right? So it's some of the most special, for me, it's some of the most special, you know, abilities on the court that I've ever seen, especially from a guy that size. So, you know, when you get into a position like that, last shot of the game, obviously the possession before that, Luka had hit a three to tie it, right? So, you know, Luka's got it rolling right now, and at that time, but you know, J.K. goes with the finisher, Kyrie Irving, like the skill to shoot a left hand floater hook shot over a 7-footer. That's over Joker. Joker had to laugh about that after that. I don't know if anybody saw that. When he bent, he was laughing. He was like, damn, like he really knocked that down. Incredible shot. That's going to be one of the difference makers, if not the difference maker for the Dallas Mavericks this year in the postseason. It's just going to be crazy.
Does he laugh here? Not sure.
When he bends over, he's laughing. He's like, yo.
I know Luka was praying to Kyrie Jesus.
I did see that.
Jesus Christ, because I'm gonna go out and say this. I know what you guys are thinking, whatever. That's one of the best game-winning shots I've seen in my life. The hell are we talking about? Yes, shot. Easily. As soon as I saw it, I'm like, that's one of the best. I'm thinking about going through every single shot in the history of
a tough shot.
One of the best game winners ever. He's a right-handed player going with his left hand. The first person I thought about right after I said, oh, one of the best game winners ever. Kobe. He's baby Kobe when he's on that court. Just Kobe decided I have a right separated shoulder. I'm gonna just shoot left-handed throughout the game, just cause.
kill you with the left.
Oh my God! Just definitely one of the guys in terms of on the court. Yes, he has the Mamba mentality. You know, never seems afraid of anybody. Seems to have, you know, think the game through, and of course, super skilled. I just always had an issue with the most skilled player of all time, because it's like, I think there are a lot of players who, you know, they play to their strengths. Me and Dom always having a heated conversation about, I I thought Kobe should have played more like Penny. And I think that puts him in a different category. And he's automatically like top 3 for me, because he's just what you see with Joker now is what you would see with Kobe in a way. Because he's just, I think, more built, like less stronger than Mike, more finesse than Mike, had a way better handle than Mike at a younger age, better passer than me. And again, super skilled. He can do whatever he wants. Kobe could basically do whatever he wants. How are you going to stop him from going to this corner if he wants to? When he could cut you off, and then I could pass it like this, and I might get it back. It's just a different player. With Kyrie, he never developed that. But we got to give other players too, even though with the Jokers and the Don and the Lucas of the world and Larry Bird, they're super skilled in their own way, but they have to be. They better be. Because if not, what are they? You know what I'm saying? Like Kyrie is super skilled on top of skill. I don't have to be this nice. I didn't have to add this finisher. I didn't have to add this game-winning, left-leaning, left skyhook. I didn't have to add that to my game, but he did. And that's the difference between him and 99%, excuse me, and 99% of anybody that ever played basketball, probably. He just approaches the game like a savant. And that is what we enjoy about him when we do fight for him and we go, that's the guy I like to see. Something else we wanted to talk about was, excuse me, this is part of the reason why when they traded for Daniel Gafford, PJ Washington, I go, how is this not a championship team? You have Luka Doncic, obviously. The last time he was paired up with another killer in Jalen Brunson, Western Conference Finals. Mm-hmm. I don't care if it was a different West Coast. I don't care if that the team was different. Kyrie is Jalen Brunson, same level, maybe better. He's been there. He has the experience.
If we're talking about in terms of playoff, when we start talking about winning now, like Jalen Brunson is a winner. I'm not saying that. He's won on every level except the NBA, and I foresee him being a winner on this level. But in terms of who's got it done already, who's been there and knows, what it takes to be a part of getting there, Kyrie Irving 100%. I think that's the piece that Luka needed. Somebody that's been there, somebody that has that hunger to win. Like we say what we want. Kyrie Irving is still a guy that's super competitive, that wants to win, that is a champion, is looking to add more championships. Like he's that type of guy. Like I don't care what nobody said. We could all that off the court stuff. Y'all have your opinion on that. That's a whole nother conversation. But just in terms of wanting to win, that dude is still, after championships, after playing at a high level, after playing late into May and June and things like that. So I think this is going to be a huge piece for them, in the playoffs, when every game counts, every possession counts.
And I like this comment right here, Cameron Goldberg, because I really don't like Kyrie as a person. As a player, he is great, not as a person. I think I remember a time, and me and two were about to go back and forth, and then we held off on the argument. I remember a time when Kobe Bryant was the most hated basketball player easily, by far. People had their reasons. The thing with Shaq, he came in as a fake Michael Jordan to us, so he already was behind the 8 ball. Then he got Shaq traded, and of course, the personal court case that he caught, which is, if I got to be 100% transparent about that. If you read the court case documents and everything, I don't know how to feel about that case. There is no one way or another when it comes to that for me, and a lot of people feel that way. So I can't be mad at you if you hated Kobe Bryant after reading those documents. But the fact also is, it wasn't until the Redeem Team that people really started giving this new image to Kobe Bryant. The Mamba mentality is a Nike promotion to like Kobe Bryant. That was all planned and it was strategized. Kyrie Irving doesn't really have that. He moves to the beat of his own drum. He has a way different story. I think there was something that was happening to him that every young man goes through when he was playing for the Cavaliers, and he just has this awakening. I'm 26, 27 years old, entering the prime of my life. When a man is between 27 and 35, he's starting to, you ain't never going to feel like that again. You ain't never going to feel like that again. You ain't going to feel that young again. But everything about life The recovery is way different. Everything, intimacy, basketball, whatever you want to do, it's going to be different. That's the last time you're going to feel that way, and probably the smartest you're going to be while going about doing those things. And Kyrie just had this awakening. The earth is flat. He came on ESPN First Take and just had this attitude, and it was just like, remember his mom's died when he was a teenager. All these things combined, he's just finding his identity.
When he was 2 years old.
Oh, I thought he died when he was a teenager.
No, believe me, he was 2 years old.
I looked that up just to clarify it. But the point is, he's been through a lot. Shout out to Diedrich. Shout out to all his people from the BX to raise a kid, anyone to make it to the league like that and become this savant. Because I think alongside this guy, there is a lot to him that's quite smart. He didn't get to Duke by accident, I don't think. And when you hear him talk and he's not defensive, I love listening to Kyrie Irving. If he had a chance to talk about why he thought the earth was flat and he didn't take the position that we all do on social media, which is, oh, let me hold on to this thing because I said it. If you would have had an elaborate conversation and realized like, oh, damn, maybe I'm wrong, he would have came to the same conclusion that so many other people have came to. I'm talking to a lot of people that think the earth is flat. Smart people that think the earth is flat. I think they're nuts for thinking so. And my simple reasoning for that is Einstein didn't think so. And that guy is legit smart. I'm a big fan of Albert Einstein. That guy didn't think none of that. He wouldn't have came up with whatever other theory for this. I don't want to veer off here, Flea. But the point is, but Kyrie, I think, came to the same conclusion that so many of us have. That's it. I think he should be allowed to be wrong. The whole thing that happened when he was with the Nets wasn't it. That was, again, him standing on a position and not really seeing what was going on. You have a Nets reporter there, Nick Friedel, looking to pick at you. It's continuous. This is why you can make a statement like, I really don't like Kyrie Irving as a person. As a player, he's great, not as a person. You don't know that man.
I mean, respectfully, Cameron, you don't know him. Like, that's where I'm at. Like, you don't know him personally. You haven't sat down and had a meal with him, drank a cup of coffee, right? Like, so on a personal level, I think that's where we sometimes get confused because we digest what is given to us to digest, and we digest what's given to us to digest, and then we have access, right? That's the wildest part of it because there's an in-between right, that we have no access to. You know what you see, and then you have the access, right? If you wanted to reach out to Kyrie Irving personally right now, you could do that, right? This is just the time we in. So you feel some type of personal connection to who he is, whether that's like or dislike, but it's really fake, to be honest. And I'm being respectful to everybody right now. It's fake because nothing authentic about it because we don't know them. We don't know them. We can have opinions on stances and and what we see and what we hear and what everything like that. But if we ever got an opportunity to get the in between, having access to say, hey, I don't like you in your DMs, and what we just see on the TV, I think we will feel different about a lot of different people, not just athletes, just people in general. So, but in terms of him just being the most skilled player ever, I think he's up there. Like I said, we need to stop with this ever word, like ever.
But I think they tie into each other because I think, but at a certain point, Cole would have been like, I ain't talking to this dude no more. He wouldn't have respected Kyrie the way that he did unless he spoke the way that everybody, because what if Dom say in the group chat immediately, yo, you don't think this, that. I get a lot of Kyrie or you hate Kyrie Irving.
Yeah, you get a lot of smoke for that.
because I criticize, because I said, yo, I think skill is way more than just dribbling, shooting, and finishing at the basket. And if that's the case, he's the best finisher and best handles of all time. Okay, that's two things. What about defense? If you don't count that as skill, that's crazy to me. And then it's limited on who he could do all that stuff too.
Because of his size.
That's it.
Right.
He's the best. Right. He's the most skilled player at 6'3" and under. But I don't want you to get it confused, Cameron. Like, I'm not attacking you the same way you're not really attacking Kyrie.
Right.
Period.
Right.
Like that,
We're not.
but
That wasn't even the angle. No.
no, but in this world we live in, it's so easy to feel this way because
That's
of how Kyrie does come off because of that limited amount. He doesn't have a, he's not, it's not a post-game podcast. It's a post-game interview. We have 2 minutes to answer a question. It's a pre-game interview. Well, when he does have the time, go on IG Live to do these things, he didn't do it either. So that's why I don't want to absolve him of any of this. The same way, you know, with the vax and all that stuff was going on. I was one of the only people that defended him. Bro, you are a athlete and not just a normal athlete. You take it seriously. It looks like you take it way more seriously than anybody, including the guy who you look like the most in Allen Iverson, and aside from Rod Strickland, where it's like you're Allen Iverson, but way more refined and taking the game seriously. Left hand, right hand, everything. That guy, we fell in love with just watching the game from you. So in order for you to perform all that, you had to be at a superstar physical level that I don't think any of you guys needed to take the vax because you guys were all around each other. So the fact that I've always said in the NBA, right now we flirt with LeBron taking PEDs and stuff like that. They have testing for that. If you take the wrong pill from GNC and you are totally innocent and you test for something that's illegal, they're suspending you. You're losing money. Well, the vax at the time, it said, we don't know what's in here. Just take it. What if it had one of the suspended things in there?
I mean, that's
the spirit. No. I'm just saying the spirit of that rule is incorrect. What I'm saying is that Kyrie never even came at it that way. He was just too defensive. You have to at least exercise the smarts that we know you have. Don't let Nick Friedel get to you. That's why he's sitting there in the Mavericks press conferences. See how comfortable he looks now? He's relieved. He knows, yo, Mark Cuban got my back. They're not gonna put me to the, even if I do mess up, he got my back. There's nothing like that. He said, I wish I was drafted by the Mavericks. There's nothing like that. And I don't know if you guys have ever experienced anything like that before, but he's not an evil person to me to ever dislike to make a.
I
do talk about Devin Booker like this. So.
I mean to validate what you're saying, yeah, he did say that about the Dallas Mavericks. But damn it, everybody that ever plays for that organization speaks resounding of being able to play for Mark Cuban. Whether the relationship goes, sour or not, most people say when they play for the Mavericks, it's always a pleasant experience playing for the team, the organization. I'm not talking about individual players, just specifically, that organization. But yeah, I try not to get caught up, me personally, in the
what?
I try not to get caught up in the, how he felt about the vax, because everybody has, and at that point in time, everybody had their own, you was arguing, and not you personally, but you were arguing with your in-laws about it, your brothers and sisters about, well, should we get it? Should like, that was a point of contention for, people at your job, people in your family, people in your friend groups. Like, so I don't, me personally, like, I don't get into whether you get it, whether you not, how you feel, but when it was affecting him being on the basketball court, I thought that, he should have given more thought into how does this affect us going forward as a team, more so than, the other side of it, which is absolutely important. Is it harmful? Is it not? All those kind of feelings. Are they forcing me to do something I shouldn't do? All of that is valid. I'm not saying he's wrong for that. What I'm saying is they had a golden opportunity to, really do some things, and at points his absence hindered that. And that's the, I'm keeping it basketball. It's not, I don't refute, how he approached that. I'm just saying, had he been there, things may have been different. That's all.
I think it affects the way when someone can become a fan of somebody and all of a sudden you become polarizing. And because I have a critique about his basketball skills, this other stuff, this crazy wave of just, you don't like him personally, like, where did that come from? oh, this is why. I had to break it down myself. Like, I'm just talking basketball because as a person, I like him a lot. I like to hear him talk, especially when he's not defensive.
I enjoy listening to him speak, you know.
While we were on the air, bro, Cameron, thank you for this. Some really bad news. OG elbow flare up. Woj reported that OG out for not knowing how long. Take a look at this, bro.
This game against the look, I'm told that OG Anunoby is going to be out more than just tonight. That right elbow has flared up again. They need it to calm down. How long he is out is unclear, but it's certainly a concern for this Knicks team. They do not know the status of Julius Randle moving forward, and right now they will miss OG Anunoby more than just this game against the Warriors tonight, I'm told.
Health is going to be such a key factor for the New York Knicks moving down the stretch.
Look, I'm told that OG.
That's tough. That's tough, man. And like we just were reiterating, man. You're gonna have to manage that. You know, are there gonna be questions about did we rush him back too fast? Does that question start arising now? Was he really ready to go? Did they, you know, you see it all the time, you know, not misdiagnosing, but, you know, getting a guy out there a little too early sometimes, you know, and there was a level, to be honest with you, if we're being honest Knicks fans right now, there was a level of desperation. We were winning games. We were staying afloat. Like I said last episode, we were staying afloat. But the fact still remains, we would like our guys back. You know, that's a huge testament to Jalen Brunson and the rest of the team. But we would like our full team back. So I'm sure there was like a level of desperation, you know, kind of pushing him along and him, you know, wanting to be back and him kind of pushing himself maybe along a little too fast. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? Yeah, fully agree with you, Vaughn Allen.
Yeah, I'm worried. Like I said, it's not just like even with Randall, don't get me wrong, adding him is just like another level of player, you know, helps Brunson out. You know, he's a workhorse. But like I said, I was a big time football fan. With players like this, when they impact the game like this on the court, it's visible, and it's almost like the stats don't even, 15-2, the wins. That's why they always say I don't care about every other stat, just that win column. And it's not just that; it's just watching the game. It was a different game from that first Philly game to the second Philly game when he came back. There was a big difference when he was on that court. You feel it.
You can see it, bro. Yeah,
you could feel it.
Yeah.
There's no. That's upsetting for me. Like, I'm really depressed by that right now. That just ruined my night for them now for the moment. I think like Vaughn Allen said, similar injuries, minimum 3 months time to heal. You just need time to heal.
But I think that's what I was saying. You know, that's what I was saying. You know, a few weeks back, even before he came back. This initial time is that, listen, if we're gonna make a run at this thing, we got to understand that our starting 3, 4, and 5, our starting 3, 4, and 5 come back. All of those guys will not be fully healthy until next season. You can book that. No, all of them, with the exception of Julius Randle, and his injury is a dislocated shoulder. So that takes time to heal. But Mitch had surgery, and so did OG. So you know what I'm saying? Like, if these guys do come back, all three of them will not be 100%. We will not get 100% until October, training camp of next season. That's not going to happen. So, you know, love to have them back, but we have to understand that not any of those three players, we're getting 100%. And that will be a part of the demise in terms of how far, you know, we go on this playoff run. It just will be. The injuries will matter.
Even even fully healthy, I don't think we expect to be putting Boston out the way, like talking the way that we did. Sub Knicks GM.
I love that.
I don't expect to have, even with Mitchell Robinson and Julius Randle coming back. That's what people I think of when they think of us, like this grind out team. That it's like if we do win, it'll be us playing perfect and just playing hard as hell.
You got to match that level of physicality with us now, and
you do. But it was when you OG made us feel, made me like we were dominant. That's different than just matching our because now you got to match the physicality, and you got to deal with the fact that we're this dominant. That is deflating. You're I don't care what you do in life. You're playing, Monopoly versus this wizard. You're like, how are you beating me every single time? This is crazy. It's beyond frustrating to have that on the court, just championship level style. How many? Like I said, the Lakers experienced that for this season, and it was only a couple of weeks because they're old. So now we know, oh yeah, that's what happens when you're old. This is what happens when you're injury prone. It looks like it just sounds like it, or dealing with this injury this kind of way. And it sucks. This sucks, bro. Bad.
Yeah, I mean, listen. I thought for me to, I always allow you to be the pessimist. I'll be the optimist, and let's just allow him to let this thing heal. They want the flaring up to go down. That's obviously meaning that it is, there's some swelling happening. So, got to manage that. I don't know what kind of pain he's dealing with because I'm sure there's a level of soreness. Maybe it's not pain, but it's sore. So, I gotta look at this on the bright side and say including this game, there's 15 games left. We're absolutely going to be in the mix of the playoffs, period. Whether that, we, God forbid, hit a snide and we wind up in the play-in, or, we maintain what we have and still be a 4, 5, or 6 seed. So if we could just focus on getting our guys healthy and, our bench, continuing to play the way that they've played, the guys are next man up kind of mentality. So that's a concern. I will not lie to you guys. It is a concern. It is a concern.
Is this true? Got to be hella painful if the man was letting out screams when shooting.
I mean, if that's true, then like I said, he may have come back, a little too quickly.
And we don't care about what, like Cameron saying. Someone said that OG cannot get hurt again after surgery. Cameron, whoever told you that, you should block them for the rest of your life about anything like that. You just don't listen to people like that. Just think about this, right? When you have surgery, they use a knife. They use like new school knives. They may even use lasers to cut your skin open to get inside of your body. So you need time to heal, period. And if you're cutting into a bone, and
we're no doctors. We're no doctors.
Right. We need to find
the level of common sense we're using on this is paramount. Please, y'all.
He can't get hurt after. But we gotta watch Dr. Sutterer. He's AllBall thinks he's a quack, allegedly. But he's he's like the doctor from
shout out AllBall
from The Simpsons. Hi everybody.
Yeah, I remember that dude. That's insane.
This hurt. I can't lie. This was deflating. Hello, fellas. Just found your channel, Nostalgic Nick. Yo,
Peace.
Nostalgic Nick, welcome.
Peace.
Please, we welcome all silly commentary because I have some of that. You might not agree with everything I say. I might not agree with everything you say.
Nostalgic Nick, please subscribe.
Like, comment, subscribe. Deja un like, comentario y suscribe. Best believe if we have a cushion or at least a comfy position, he could take his time back. Right. That's a great Kid Lamar. New here. Yo, Kid Lamar, like, comment, subscribe, share. Tell these people about us. We ain't out here playing around. You see the wine background, that rosé. You kidding me? You kidding me? That's the city. That's the city spilt with rosé.
That's the city spilt with rosé. I love it.
That rosé champagne. Listen, you don't want me. Flea, they're not. That's the other part. They're not ready. Like they think, oh, these guys are cool, this, that, and the third. Imagine giving us a position where Flea's cursing me out at any given time on ESPN or something like that.
Don't let me.
It's gonna be so legendary.
Keep me right here, because I'll start going crazy.
He'll go nuts. And you know me, I'm looking for a reason, trying to figure out how can Flea curse me out today. Let me see.
Yeah, I know.
Let me compare OG to Kawhi Leonard.
It pissed me off.
I feel like we may be bad for a few years. OG cannot stay healthy. Damn, you talk about pessimistic?
Come on, Cam. Cam, you killing me today. Pause. Come on, Cam.
Goldberg, chill out, Cam. Chill out, man. A few years. Listen. Let's not forget we got Jalen Brunson here.
But be bad. We are bad. We're not a bad team.
Right.
But I will say the Hawk is on us. Like the Magic is 40-28. They're like a half game behind us, right? Like that pit bull is on our heels. So there's other teams that will continue to try to get through the home stretch and get as high of a seed as they can. So we still have to maintain and still do our best to win games. Like these next two games this week, it's tough games. You call it what you want. Tonight is going to be a tough game against Golden State. Thursday we in Denver against the Nuggets. That's the champs. It's going to be a tough game. We punched them. We punched them back in the Garden. But call it what you want. Anybody that goes to Denver, it's tough to get a W in there. So,
yo, I just looking up because who just asked? Gregory Wilson asked if OG Anunoby is Nigerian. I went to go look it up. I know he's from England.
He's African though.
Yeah, I know he's from England, and it also says his mom's died at 1 year old. At the age of 4. Should we look this up? I mean, this is called The Curious Case of OG Anunoby. Did you like that? I really like that title, Flea. I'm surprised you didn't go, oh, that's an excellent title.
I like it. It's decent.
Oh, shit. I loved it, bro. You bastard.
Yeah, so it's Nigerian.
Where do you see that?
OG born
in London
to Nigerian parents. So where did you see that? The first sentence.
So he is. God bless him and his family.
Yeah.
His mom passed away at 1.
Yeah, God bless. God bless her.
Wow. At the age of 4, Anunoby moved with his family to the U.S., settled in Jefferson City, Missouri, where his father was a professor of finance at Lincoln. Oh, no. They got to be billionaires by now, something like that. Respectfully.
I mean, his brother played in the league and went to med school.
Respectfully.
Small family over there.
You know where them scans be coming from. Number 1. Number 2. More important. His father's a professor of finance. Yo, he's probably tripling, quadrupling, 10-doubling his NBA contract money. What?
His brother played in the NFL. I don't know if you just read that quickly.
I'm sorry, I did not.
Family of athletes.
When he was young, for the Browns, Tennessee Titans, and Minnesota Vikings before entering medical school.
See?
Yeah, they're doing what we're all supposed to be doing. Like fucking I'm gonna keep it Dominicans. What do? We go on a baseball field and go out to go party. Get your kid that scholarship to go get a medical degree. Why aren't we doing that?
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm not gonna veer off and bore the crowd. I already went crazy.
Take us home, please.
His other brother is an internet. Nah, whoa. Wow. Wow.
He brought up OG because he wanted to do that. That's why he brought it up.
Greg, you think you slick. You brought that out of me, Greg. That's your fault. I'm blaming you, Greg. You're not getting the TikTok. Greg, if we get off YouTube, I'm gonna find out who you are. I'm gonna call OG up and we're gonna find you, Greg.
Nah, allegedly.
No, I don't want to bring us home. I want you to talk about whatever you want to talk about, Flea. We had one more. No, I want to hear what you got to say. We're excited about LeBron and JJ Redick podcast. Dom's in the building. He said JJ Redick blows.
I did want to speak on that.
Go ahead. I got some time, bro.
I just think that podcast is going to be important for a couple reasons, and the main reason is it's going to just restore some order. It's going to restore some order. It's going to bring some balance to what we do on these platforms and on these podcasts. Now, the lane that we're in is a beautiful lane because it provides everybody with a platform to have an opinion, to speak on everything that they've gained through their life on the game of basketball, right? Everything that you speak about is knowledge that you've compiled through your entire life. Same thing with me, same thing with everybody else that is really amateur at this, right? But we about to get two dudes, right, that have played, regardless of who they are in stature in the NBA, because obviously LeBron James is on a certain level and JJ Redick is on another level. But just flat out in terms of being pros, they're both guys that made it to the highest level you can playing the game of basketball. And what we about to get is just strictly basketball. I don't foresee there being too much entertainment value. There has to be some level of it, but there's not going to be that comparing and contrasting. The level of debate that's going to be in that conversation is going to be a level of, well, I see this play this way and you see it that way, as opposed to Fabian is better than Flea and Flea is better than Fabian. And I think that is going to be a little more refreshing. It's going to be way more informative, whether you like LeBron or whether you like JJ Redick. The information that you're going to be able to get from these conversations are going to be phenomenal. And it's really going to separate, who really rocks with the game and who's just in it for the entertainment. If you're in it for the entertainment, there's plenty out there. Trust me, plenty out there. But if you into understanding things that, you hearing on play-by-plays, right? There's a lot of stuff that people hear on play-by-plays that they might not even understand, that they're running to Google with, that they're running to their coach. They go to their coach, say, yo, hey, what's it? What? So now this is going to be an opportunity, for guys to really understand the game and not, the bullshit, to me.
Morn Allen already responds to you. Flea, you wildin'. LeBron probably has more stories than every player in the NBA has had, because he's had more teammates and coaches than every other player.
I don't refute that 100%. I'm talking about what the platform is going to be centered around. Vaughn is absolutely right. If anybody has stories for days, I'm sure he does. But I don't feel like that's not gonna be what the goal is here. The goal here is gonna be talking about the game. I don't think LeBron doesn't want to get into a back and forth with anybody in the league in terms of this media space and talk. That's not his thing. I don't think he wants to segue into podcasting and beefing with this person and that person because I said this or I said that. He could be that person. He got it like he said, he played with everybody. So I'm sure he got plenty to say in terms of that. I don't think that's going to be the angle with this specific podcast. JJ Redick, we've seen him be upset that there's not a purity in terms of talking to the game anymore. It's more me versus you versus me. Like, I think that's what the angle is. Now, I've been wrong plenty of other occasions. So if I'm wrong on this, yeah, I'll publicly come back and say I was wrong. But I don't see that being what they're trying to put together over here.
Well, here's a little clip of the JJ Redick LeBron James podcast. Mind the game.
There's a lot of things, other things I would do in basketball too. Like it's a couple other coverages I would do. The the pick the picker, BOB. Not bombs over Baghdad, but baseline out of bounds.
Yeah. America's play.
The America's play.
Yeah.
You have the guard, you have the best shooter sitting in the middle of the lane.
Yep.
You have the biggest wing sitting at the top.
Yep.
5 is on the strong side. You have the point guard taking it out.
Yep. And then the weak side corner.
In the weak side corner.
Yeah.
It's not many times that the guy, the wing that's coming down the middle gets that pass. Because in theory, if you're guarding the ball, 1,000, 1,000, take away the basket and then jump out, right? To take away the shot. The guy that's guarding the ball, when he says 1,000, 1,000, 1,000, why doesn't he just take the guard that's coming out for the pick the picker, and the guard that's guarding the pick the picker guy just falls right to the guy that's taking the ball out?
Yeah.
You go 1,000, 1,000. JJ Redick is flying off left, right, where you know he's dangerous. He can shoot straight up and down if he wants to, or he's going to fade if he wants to as well. Maybe kick you.
It's my natural shooting motion. It's my natural shooting motion.
I'm guarding the ball. I just take JJ, and the guard who was chasing you just falls right to the guy that's taking the ball out. That's one. That's not. We could talk about that.
So
later.
no. So what's interesting about that? I like that. I'll tell you why. Because
It's another minute. You want to watch?
I mean, I saw it. I don't know if everybody else saw it. I've seen it.
someone who ran that play, right? So whether I slipped or set the screen, I'm coming off. A lot of teams after 1,000 would say.
By the way, this is I was gonna go into a whole thing about like making fun of them.
We could do that too.
I like it, man.
You know what the problem is, and why people are gonna it's gonna be hard to be serious. It's because not for nothing. I wish people would be honest about. A lot of people find LeBron corny, like they find dude corny. So the fact that a lot of people find him such a corny dude, that's why it's gonna be so hard to take him seriously. Like the entertainment aspect of watching this, people are gonna be like holding on to any little thing because they're gonna try to find a way, to make him entertaining, and that part of it, he may struggle with. If we're gonna have some type of critique on this, cool. That part of it, he may struggle with having the charisma and the entertainment aspect of everything. But in terms of just like what they doing right there, that X's and O's and really breaking down stuff, and him still being a current player, right? Like getting it. I think that's gonna be fun. I don't care what nobody said. That's gonna be fun.
So Nostalgic Nick said he's surprised LeBron didn't go with Draymond.
That would have been interesting.
I could find Draymond a little annoying sometimes like that too, because it's like we've seen you be a savage at any given time, and I don't see that as a podcaster. I don't get the raw, uncut Draymond. You're lying. I feel like you're lying half the time. Like you need to talk like you would talk to us, Draymond. Knock it off. Like you're at the domino. He even had a Bones tape where he sat down, played with Gary Payton, and I think it was Sinead from ESPN, and just still didn't feel.
I see it.
Where's the Gary Payton? Where's the crazy Draymond? You do need that in a, like no. F that. Like having a podcast like that. Also, what they're missing with that is, because you're right, he is corny. But Kobe wasn't all that.
No, I said they think he's corny. I didn't say he's corny. They think he's corny.
He is corny. JJ Redick is
I'm standing on that. He's corny.
He is corny. Like, LeBron isn't super character. I like LeBron though. Like when he's this guy, it seems like he wants to be himself, but it's also like, oh, this is JJ Redick talking, so I'm gonna use theory and try to make it. Shut up, LeBron. Right? Because even Kobe for a long time we thought of Kobe as corny. Then it got to a point, I think, when he went through everything he went through, he was like, yo, you know what? I gotta be me.
Yeah. And Bean was not corny to me. I tell you that. Like he was him. He was just him all the time.
Not all the time.
It was like I feel like it was an acquired taste. Pause. Like either you wanted to rock with him or you didn't. And I think when he started to let his guard down in terms of who he was, like you're saying, Like when he started to let his guard down and allow others in, not everybody, but if you passed, if you felt like you was, if you was one of them, I'll let, and everybody that talks about him talks about that side of him. Like, damn, like the type of person he was, like how cool he was to be around. Like you said, from the outside, it's like, oh, kind of a cornball. I don't know. But everybody that got in was like, yo, nah, he was legit. Official dude.
Not in the second half of his career. I thought he was way more authentic and way more himself, because the first half.
Yeah, then too. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm referring to.
The first half was more wagging your tongue. You're trying to be Mike. The second half, he was Kobe. There was no, he had the Mike impersonation on the court with a lot of things, but he was Kobe. Like there was no mistake in his voice. He wasn't trying to sound like Mike. None of that until you got him mad. There were flashes of that when say, oh, Shaq said this about you. What'd he say? Oh yeah, he would bring Jim Gray to echo these comments. So he would have flashes of it, which is what I thought Draymond would be doing. But back to this podcast, the number one way to improve something like that, you guys have way too much money to not turn that into a cartoon and to have graphics for just that minute of what LeBron just said. Because what I would compare basketball to this entire time, Flea, that sounds like he's talking about a football game. If you got some guy guarding the inbounds pass 1-2 and then just flares out and the guy in the paint drops in, that's a football game. He just described the line of scrimmage, everything about that. So when he said that, I'm like, yo, I've been talking about stuff like that, but I've never described it the way LeBron just did. Never. And
you're not like, somebody, I seen somebody in some comments say like, oh, of course, LeBron got that play or LeBron got that situation from a middle schooler. And this is a guy who's played 20 years in the NBA. He's played basketball his entire life. So what? So whatever. Like I'm super excited about this this pairing. I would love to see them do that. Obviously, bring some coaches in, bring some other cerebral players in, like having those kind of conversations. I think that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, definitely need visuals for viewers and younger kids who are learning the game, or just people who are interested in something like that, where he just, because for him to say that play doesn't even really happen, it sounds like that they wouldn't even try it. Like, why aren't we doing this? It's like, yeah, why aren't you doing that with these level of, like, it's not like you have Mark Eaton out there. God bless it. I know disrespect Mark Eaton. Oliver Miller. You ain't got Oliver Miller at the inbounds pass and can't make that 1,000, 1,000 play and dash to the paint, or the guy in the paint dashing to the inbounds pass. Everybody's like 250 nowadays and can move around the court. There are no true centers anymore, so you can make that play, I think, on every team.
Big shout out to Oliver Miller.
Or even Shaq. Shaq's not doing it. Maybe a rookie Shaq could do it, but after that, my point is that
big shout to Oliver Miller, man. Big shout.
That was slick. Big shot. Before we go, I don't know if we done with the 90s. We done with the 80s. I don't even know if we done with these bad boy Pistons. Specifically, Isaiah Thomas. You had something to say, and I can't wait to hear it, because this will be news to me, and I want to hear what Mr. Flea, All We Live, has to say about Mr. Isaiah Zeke Thomas and Michael Jordan.
Listen, I just think that people are egging this on, right? This could be put to rest. This could be really put to rest. I think that this is the other side of sports media that I think everybody dives into. It's the cattiness, it's the drama, it's the things that behind the scenes, quote unquote, that we want to hear about, but in reality, it's really not behind the scenes anymore. It's really not. All of this is right in front of our faces. I think every time that this dude Isaiah is on a platform, it is brought up. I think there are so many other things to talk about Isaiah Thomas and his greatness without having to bring up Michael Jordan. And I think people are continuing to put him in a position to talk about this. I don't really fault him anymore, right? And I think that's the surprising thing about what I'm saying. I know you expected me to say it's his fault. I don't think it is his fault that he is speaking about this anymore. I think that every platform that I've seen him go on, somebody is asking him about it. And I just feel like he's gotten plenty of opportunity to speak on it, and we know where it stands. And there's so much more about him as a man, a businessman, a coach, a GM, a owner, a player, a father. Like, there's so much more about who he is, Isaiah Thomas, that we could learn about, get to know more about. The younger people could get to know more about him, all of that kind of stuff. We have so much more to talk about than that relationship between him and Michael Jordan. And I don't think that's the most intriguing thing about him. I don't think that's the most interesting thing. And we need to, it's enough. It's enough. We got you. We understand. We got it. Interviewers, let's be a little more. I'm talking about the people that are having him on now. Like, be a little more creative. Do a little more research. There's way more to talk to this brother about than his relationship with Michael Jordan. And if that's the only way you think people are going to watch, you got to get a little more freaky. You got to get freaky on how you're going to ask questions and how you're going to present your interview. Just bringing that up all the time, I think, and I'm going to leave it like this. Stop being lazy. There's way more to talk about.
He kept Zeke off the most famous team in history, Flea. Come on, man. That won't ever go away.
I respect it.
Even if Jordan apologized, the damage is done for the rest of his life.
100%.
Don't we know it? It's like Dame being asked and Jay. I guess you watched. Hold on a second. Thanks, Vaughn. Shameless plug.
Shameless plug. Good shit, Vaughn. That's not liquor, by the way, y'all.
What's that? Give me one. You said, how's that looking?
I said that wasn't liquor.
I think I understand why. JJ Draymond asked about it in his way. You ain't Magic. You ain't Larry Bird. That's what they're basically telling Isaiah, and he still won. They put in rules to help Steph Curry. Isaiah sounded like Dame Dash to Jay-Z. But at the end of the day, there's certain things that we look at Dame and we go, he's right about that. There's certain things Isaiah's right about. Kids don't want to understand. They didn't put the rules in there to help Isaiah Thomas and the Pistons. They put the rules in there to hurt him. They were saying, bro, we got the McDonald's commercial, the Gatorade commercials at nighttime. We got the NBA promoted 24/7 because of Michael Jordan. You ain't getting in his way. You ain't Magic. You ain't Larry Bird. That's what they're basically telling Isaiah, and he still won. They put in rules to help Steph Curry, James Harden, all these shooters, to make it easier for you. Yes, because the likes of him were helped out by Michael Jordan against the Pistons. Oh,
that was just such a nasty plug, but I love it.
What did you say? That was a what?
I said that was such a nasty plug, but I love it. I'm glad you played that.
I think Vaughn, he was saying the same thing I did about Dame and how Isaiah comes off that way now.
Yeah.
A little bit bitter, especially when LeBron came out, he was almost like a little too happy to finally wave the flag of you ain't the best anymore, Michael Jordan. And if that's your opinion, that's your opinion. You think LeBron is better than the best ever, cool. But he's almost like he's the guy who led the way in that sense. I don't remember anybody bigging up Kareem Abdul-Jabbar like that in the 90s. Ever. It was always Magic. That's just me. And then when LeBron came out,
the older generation in the 90s, like that watched Kareem prior to Magic, have that attachment to Kareem. Like, again, you ask a 60-year-old, a 70-year-old guy who's his favorite player, it's gonna be very different than asking me, than asking you, than asking Don, right? It's gonna be different. I promise you.
Yeah, but I still don't. It just feels like, because remember, Isaiah is on TV in the 90s saying this is the best player of all time. He's the greatest right now. There was a time when he was saying that. So it feels like I don't think he's lying about these things. I just think he's always felt Like you said though, I want to hear more about the story about how your nephew was just living with Michael Jordan. What does that mean?
Please, you've said that 3 times in the last 3 times I've seen you sit down with people. You've said that. Like, here's my thing, right? Are you trying to bait Michael Jordan into just sitting down with somebody and just talking? Because here's the thing, Mike don't be sitting down and talking to none of you niggas. He don't talk to you niggas. Like, he doesn't. Every chance Isaiah gets to talk, he gonna talk. And it's gonna be about Jordan. Imagine, yo, man. I'll be at the crib, man, just laughing like, this nigga talking about me again. I'll be tallying off. I'll have a tally board, like, another one. Khaled, another one. Damn.
In the dream team. I'm trying to look for it. But there's a time when they caught him on tape on a secret conversation with Michael Jordan saying, like, yeah, nobody liked them.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, so why Isaiah Thomas acting like it was during I sat down with my family? That's the part where Isaiah Thomas, yo, enough is enough, bro. You're 70 years old, whatever you guys are. You're proving why we're just human, and we know older people that don't mess with each other. You know, like, this is nothing new. So, Flea, I think how else can you get a viral moment out of Isaiah Thomas when these kids ain't gonna watch Isaiah Thomas? What they want to, everybody is into is salaciousness, gossip. I ain't mad at that.
I get that part. I'm bigging up Isaiah at the same time, and I hope people are wise enough to understand that this is not hate. I'm saying that he's done so much more in his career that the topic of him and Michael Jordan's relationship shouldn't even be he won back-to-back championships in a time that all you talked about was Celtics, Lakers. He could have really been the one to win 3 in a row. Like, all of that stuff is compelling. There's so many compelling storylines about who he was as a pro and those Pistons.
And we agree, but it's not talked about. Every time I bring I get backlash like Isaiah Thomas ain't better than Steph Curry standing there. I say, if you're comparing careers, I'm sorry, but I don't know if Jordan, Bird, all of these guys can compare to this little guy got his team to 3 championships in a row. It should have been 4 championships in a row in the 80s against the dynasty teams. The best of 3 guys in anybody's top 10. And back then it was even less talent. That's not compelling to them. They're still saying like, well, that's because part of the reason was he doesn't have the Nike shoes, the Gatorade commercials. He's not really charismatic either. Yeah, I ain't sitting there laughing with Isaiah Thomas. He had to call out Steven Jackson for another one of these hypocrites for being a jerk, telling him
he's a goofy.
Right, but he still had to remind him like, bro, you forgot what I did for you? Why is it that people conveniently are forgetting what Isaiah Thomas did for them? Because apparently he did something for Steven Jackson, which was major to get him back into the sport, and also held Michael Jordan down in the city of Chicago. We know city of Chicago been gangland since the beginning of Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
So it seems like this is personal.
There's
a woman involved, and nobody wants to say it. There's a woman involved, period. I'm going to tell you, conspiracy theory. We're men, bro. That's the only way. You either put a bet down, they didn't pay you big time, or there was a girl involved, bro. Somebody who messed with whose girl, bro.
Listen.
That was the downfall of Rockefeller also, by the way.
That may be true. But this right here, I wouldn't say a woman is involved. I think the big piece right here is that dream team snub. Like, I think that right there, everybody on that team, not everybody, I would be lying. Not everybody on that team was a champion. But the big dogs on that team were champions, right? Magic is a little older, but he's a champion. Bird is a champion. But prior to that, all the most recent champions were on that team. Think about that. Bird, Magic, Jordan. Zeke is not on. I'm sorry?
they're the best players of their time.
That's true. That's
Period. So
True.
to your point, well, you put the Hall of Fame jacket on now. No disrespect. I don't want to mention any players and put you guys in a frenzy, especially Flea. I might get Flea to curse me out if I say T-Mac got a Hall of Fame jacket on right now. If
He does.
T-Mac, if there was a dream team of the 2000s and T-Mac wasn't on it, the fact that Isaiah Thomas is not on the dream team, I think that's what it is. And I think it plays a factor into him like, yo, if you would have brought me there, the way you guys talk about how you were chilling, you probably would have ended up liking me. You know what I mean? Like, you probably would have ended up saying, oh, Zeke ain't that bad. And it would have broken the ice for so many things. There's something that happened there for him, though. He's just like, it was Nike. Remember, Nike's involved. Mike was covering the Adidas logo with his towel, whatever it was. There's something there when Barkley's a Nike client or a sponsor. I think Zeke feels like that was a big deal to him. Like, that would have been a pivotal moment to go, yo, let's just kill anything that happens. This is the 90s. Let's just kill everything.
I mean, that might have been, you know, the other thing too, that might have been a stamp of approval too for Zeke, right? Like, he won back-to-back championships, right? So yes, we understand that. But they had lost to Jordan and them the year before, 91, right? Jordan had just won his second back-to-back championship, right? So now the back-to-back champs are fresh in the mind of the Bulls. Like, forget the Pistons now. The Bulls have won back-to-back now. So that's a little more fresh on people's minds. So making a dream team is like validation for Isaiah Thomas in terms of the upper echelon, like you said, of the greatest of great of that time, like Bird, Magic, Jordan, right? So, you know, I understand how personal it is. I just feel like Isaiah Thomas has such a phenomenal basketball career, business career, front office career, all of these type of things, so many different stories that we could really like dive into, that I think we could put the conversation of him and Michael Jordan to rest.
So, and I think I was trying to make this point before, but now that you say all that, right, his resume is, I don't think anybody in terms of team accomplishments, possible 4 championship final appearances in a row. In terms of that, what being mentioned with Magic and everybody, the fact that he was that great, he held down Robin the way that he did with the whole Larry Bird thing happening. All these things taking place, what could have happened with each and every one of these people to say that I don't like you? Remember, Magic didn't hold you down. Magic, when you kissed them on public television on the finals, the same guy. Like, they didn't.
We watched that. We watched them come back together a few years ago. Like, at that's when the relationship was fracturing, because he's having, you know, words about almost kind of like mirroring something that Karl Malone said. They said 2 different things, but both of them were very weary about Magic Johnson. Like, if you remember, Karl Malone was like, you know, I don't know if I want to play with him. If I get cut, you know, I don't, you know, what's going to happen, right? Like, that's a statement that he said, right? Obviously, they wound up playing with each other. Well, I think that's after he announced that, after the Olympics. That's no right. Fact check that.
Say,
when did he announce?
That was not about no AIDS. When he announced HIV, when he had HIV, was before the Olympics.
Okay, that was before the Olympics. So
92 was the Olympics. 91 has been Magic Johnson. I was in 4th grade. It was November. I was in 4th grade.
November 91 is when he announced it.
So I was, I was in 4th grade. Yep, I remember reading the paper.
So that's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah,
Zeke is the one, you know, that was starting to lean into the rumors, you know, about Magic, you know, being homosexual with that. You know,
right. Jerry West said that was the rumors that he would.
And Zeke was leaning into that. Like, they said that without saying it when they had that special on NBA TV. They had the sit down conversation and all of that. They went over other things that they had issues with, but they absolutely, you know, Zeke absolutely, you know, initially leaned into, I don't know. I can't answer. You know, it was that type of attitude. It wasn't, you know, trying to save him really.
What's up, Dom?
Yo.
Dom, what up, baby?
We're talking about Zeke calling Magic gay, and that's why
Back in the day? Oh man.
Well, we're just talking about why they hated him, like what would make them hate. And I think because
Isaiah
Carmelo, what would make all these guys, it felt unanimous of, not to have him on the dream team. Michael Jordan lied about not wanting him on the dream team. He straight up lied about it.
That's
right. So but what would make you, because that means that you publicizing that would make you come off a certain way. You're selling an image, and I don't even know why he would lie about that, because you didn't like each other. But the fact that there is why would you lie about not wanting him on the team? Well, why don't you have him on the team? Because it would make us ask that question. Well, why don't you like him? That's why I think Mike is lying. Well, why don't you like him, Mike? What happened?
But then there was speculation too about being froze out of my first All-Star game. Remember that? I don't know if you guys remember that. Like there was speculation about that, and Zeke being the head of that. Like I don't know.
What I'm saying is, okay, even Zeke didn't shake your hand after a loss. Mike, I understand you're petty and everything. I get all that. This does not just feel like that. Magic, that gripe with Magic, it makes a lot of sense. Because we know how that is. Regardless, I'm not going down that rabbit hole, but we know what that means, especially back then. He already had HIV, and that was considered that. So, but for your man to say that was like, bro, why are you? Because if Magic isn't known to be that, that's like, bro, why are you saying that? And if he is, that's really none of your business to put out there. You my guy. You're supposed to have my back. So I understand Magic. Now we know, oh yeah, and Jerry West confirmed that in his book before everybody said this. But Mike, off of a handshake, nah. And this guy held you down in his city. That's what Zeke is coming out. Zeke is trying to force Mike to come out and say whatever it is.
And
he's trying
that's
to.
A good point. That's a good point. That's a great point. I think that's what's like that's what's happening right now. Maybe that's what's happening. Every chance he gets, somebody is dialing it up, and he's knocking the shit out the park. And he's like, I'm gonna keep slugging these fucking home runs until you decide to stop throwing me these lollipop fastballs down the middle. Like, come and speak up. Like he said with Draymond. I want him to apologize internationally. Not that I said he said internationally. Like, come on, bro. Like, so
remember, I held you down. I sent my family to stay with you. And I'm sitting down with my family to watch you, and then you turn around and call me an a-hole. Like, yeah, you say I'm the greatest point guard ever, but you totally look the same reason why his teammates are mad at him, Michael Jordan. Bro, you kind of overlooked a lot of stuff in that documentary, right? Same, that's what Isaiah's saying. Bro, you kind of overlooked a lot of stuff that I did for you. And all because of what? Like, you 60 years old. Enough is enough. You tapping the wrong whiskey. Mike, enough is enough with your BS. And again, Mike is in a position where I ain't got to do nothing. I'm Mike, and that's suckerish. He would never sit down with him and do all that. Listen.
That's why people be tight too, because he's like, I'm Mike. I don't have to talk to you niggas. I don't have to talk to y'all. Leave me alone. Go be mad. Okay, go be mad.
And he's always been that way. Yep. Maybe that's the ingredients of being a GOAT, being that petty. I don't know, but it's the ingredients of what made him, because it was like he used anything for, and he had the media in his pocket. Oh no, that's just Michael Jordan. He's petty. Like, word. If that was your son that did that, you would not teach him to act that way. You wouldn't. Yo, go shake his hand or go fight it out. Well, what's the problem? What are you talking about? Doing Michael Jordan. You can't fight. Isaiah Thomas said he might beat me up, but so what? Like what's the problem? Isaiah really wants to know, but what's the big deal, bro? And now we all want to know. He's right. He's right, because he did bring this back up. Draymond ain't bite the cheese. He punked Draymond to his face about his team, by the way. Like what you said, Flea, when you said there's so much more to Isaiah Thomas. Yeah. He brought that to the table. Like, hey, by the way, I'm gonna say it to your face. Your point guard, your superstar point guard ain't a point guard, and you really ain't do what we do. He's throwing his weight on the table. So that's why while you were talking, I'm like, Isaiah kind of did do that, but what got a lot of the headline was,
he's a guy that clearly feels undervalued. He's a guy that doesn't feel like he's well respected, right, amongst NBA lore. So it looks like still at 60, 65 years old, he's still trying to grasp for the respect of his peers, and now the respect of the basketball world today too. Like, he's trying to do the best that he can, and I feel like there's so much greatness about him that whatever blemishes you have with relationships, with whatever, shouldn't matter when, when we get down to the bare bone of it. You're not going to talk point guards all time without saying Isaiah Thomas' name. You're not going to do it.
Turbo, what's going on, baby?
Turbo.
Dom, you wanted to chime in about Superstar JJ Redick podcast with the illustrious LeBron James.
Dude, it's really disappointing. I was always looking forward to LeBron having a show, and it has to be with that guy. I mean, maybe I'll just watch it and then skip when JJ's talking and just only when LeBron's talking. It's really unfortunate, man. I mean, everything Felice said was true. I think it's going to be a good show, but I can't force myself to give JJ Redick any views. I'm sorry. I'm really standing on this. I refuse.
The Dime JJ Redick collaboration is in the works. He just doesn't understand it's in the works, but it is in the works. He needs to understand that it's on the way. So Dime will figure it out. He'll get the memo at some point.
Especially being that they're both coaches. I
don't understand. This is a perfect marriage.
This is really Magneto versus Professor X.
Fact.
One of us is getting I'm getting way too much credit being any of those guys. JJ's still been in the NBA. I still respect him as a talent, but I just don't like that he's just a face of Gen Z bots of this is rocks in the past sucked and was behind and was this and was these guys are this and all that stuff.
Which is probably inevitable. So we're about to get off.
Not from pros.
No, I'm saying it's inevitable for them to speak to angle the everything like that.
I expect better from former players. I mean, look, even if you think this era is better, just the plumbers, it was just a different low. I'm sorry. And then suggesting that Larry Bird dealt with just as much, or Steph Curry deals with as much physicality as Larry Bird. I'm sorry. I know Steph gets a bad whistle for the modern game, but there were teams like the Pistons, like you mentioned, trying to hurt Bird. You know what I'm saying? Lakers throwing cheap shots. What you could get away with is way different. So I just think that, for me, I don't like that. Oh, and Embiid is better than Wilt. Don't even get me started. I have a receipt of all the shit because everybody loves JJ so much with this. Not as a player cared about him, but as a media face, he's the second coming of Christ because he knows how to break down some X's and O's. And so people will say, why don't you like him, this and that? So I have to have these on ready to go, these reasons, these many statements that he's made.
That's the refreshing part though. And I think almost, it's messed up because the expectation is, oh, he's a white boy, so he's a white boy that plays, so he should know X's and O's, right? That's the fucked up part about it. But we don't, and I'll probably start some bullshit, but we don't hold all the other players accountable in knowing X's and O's all the time. And it would be refreshing to hear other talents on TV, aside from being able to talk that shit and have some swag on TV, be able to break down some game film. I love the fact that, Kobe Bryant was able to do that. You was able to see that he still, wasn't a corny dude, but you could see that, damn, you put Kobe in front of some film, he's going to break that shit down. We expect JJ to do that, but, Kendrick Perkins could just be funny. He could just be up there just giving takes, but you don't have the expectation of him to be able to break down a set. I've never heard him break down a set. They're not going to put him in that position to do it. So I don't know.
The thing though, Flea, like Fabian says though, they have Tim Legler on breaking down stuff, and people don't tune in as much as that stuff you're talking about with Perk. And the thing about Redick is, you said all this stuff about he's refreshing and this and that, and it's going to be. Hopefully you're right that this podcast is going to be less comparing and more X's and O's and more deep thinking. But JJ partakes very much in these comparisons. He 1, did it on live television. He did it constantly. He does the era stuff constantly. I remember he chimed in on one of the Braun accounts hating on MJ for doing behind the back to same hand, because I guess at the time people weren't pulling that off in games, and that wasn't You know, because remember, there was still a 70s and 60s thing about fancy dribbling that it was showboaty and discouraged from the game. That was like Globetrotter and ABA stuff.
Right.
But by the 90s,
and too black.
right.
That's the part that everybody's just overlooking that part. They're very, very selective about this.
Yeah.
By the way, but go ahead, Tom.
Anyway, so what I don't like is MJ did it behind the back to the same hand. The announcer obviously got super excited and probably was gassing a little much. Of course, that's the MJ dick riding factor, of course, and the smoothness in which he did everything with on the court. But it's not about players couldn't do that. It's about people didn't really do that in a game because it wasn't encouraged. Like, you don't think Jerry West could go behind the back into his own hand? Like, come on, bro. There's players in all eras, and there's high school players that can do that right now. But that's their point, that the kid's point that was posting that, trying to shit on it. JJ Redick tweets that and just goes, sick move, dude. And it's just like, come on, like, you're clearly showing that you side, you're taking a side basically. And it's to kind of clown the past. So
I would hope he doesn't indulge in that. I don't
think he will.
You know, I would hope that even if they do go back to the past, even looking at, you know, old sets in terms of today's sets and explaining it to somebody and what it looked like, you know, 20 years ago, out of bounds, you know, a baseline out of bounds play, as opposed to what it looks like today, right? Like, I would hope that they indulge in those kind of conversations and, you know, not segue into, well, 20 years ago, that out of bounds play got more guys open than today's out of bounds. Like, I don't know. Like, let's keep it basketball. I hope, but we shall see.
I'll conclude with this. Two things. Michael Jordan did not look smooth doing everything. He had some of the worst no-look passes in the history of the NBA and basketball.
We're talking about highlight. Okay, but who in your opinion is the most aesthetically pleasing basketball player of all time?
I never want to see Mike. It's definitely Mike, but I never want, but not while he's doing a no-look pass. He was trying to jump on a wave and it was horrible. It was disgusting. Kobe Bryant, the no-look passes were amazing. There's many things that Kobe does better handle, look better trying to do a crossover. But the other point was this. Diamond's right about this. JJ Redick does think that he is the second coming of basketball Jesus. And that's what disgusts me about him in a way. Because I like his podcast, but it's like, bro, you're not going to change basketball. Ain't gonna be no JJ Redick religion. Because if there is, I'm going to be against everything. I'm gonna flame all of your followers because I flame everybody's followers. You really think, man, maybe this is the way you do develop a cult following is by thinking you're a cult leader. So
no, this is restoring order.
Yeah,
he's trying to restore order.
Look, he's already buying into the bullshit, Fleet. Now look, now you got JJ Redick. You got JJ Redick sitting across from LeBron, who thinks the same exact way that they've saved the earth with basketball. No, it's basketball.
I don't think he thinks there's anything wrong with this era. I don't think he thinks that anything is worse than the past or anything is hard. I've never heard JJ really, except for maybe once or twice, talk about that it's easier to score now. I would like to see LeBron chime in on this, but we'll see if they talk about that. I just think it has the makings of, because what we have, right, is with guys like Shaq, right? Guys like, who's somebody who really pro the past and calls this era soft, and it's kind of like that stereotypical old head that shits on everything now. Who would that be in the media? I'm trying to think.
I mean, it's plenty of them, but I think they flip-flop now because so many young guys have platforms, and I don't think that they, like, pretty much the older guys in the NBA don't have the cachet to go back and forth on this internet thing. So now they kind of, for me, this is my opinion, they play both sides now. They will give an opinion and say certain things that happened during their time were better or this or that, whatever. But a lot of guys from now, you can pick and choose, who you want. But for the most part, they will pay homage to them. Kevin Garnett was huge on yesteryear. And now, like, you can see that he's trying to understand, like, hey, I got to show love to this young, so plenty of guys are doing that now. Shaq picks and chooses who he wants. A bunch of these guys pick and choose who they like. I just saw Shaq talk about Penny and T-Mac deserved their jerseys retired before Dwight Howard. And that's just ridiculous. That's just ridiculous at this point. At this point, you look goofy and you're showing your emotion. You're showing how personal it is, a la Isaiah Thomas, right? You showing how personal it is. Like, what are you talking about? You know,
but he's Shaq.
Right. And so we don't expect, that's the thing. We don't expect Shaq to talk to you about, well, you know, when I used to get it on the block, what, you know, what I was looking at, who I was seeing, you know, we don't expect him to break down X's and O's. That's
we don't expect it because he doesn't do it. Shaq is so emotional, like you said, he'll get so emotional that when he argues with Barkley, when Barkley makes a great point, he'll be like, I got 4 rings, Charles, Google me. And it's like, at first people were laughing about it, but he almost ruined the inside the NBA, and nobody wants to talk about that. When he first got on the game, super emotional, furniture moving, all that. When he said, "Who do I look like?"
The first year or so was nasty. Like the first season, yeah, it was nasty. He had to.
Then he finally got it when he said, "Who do I think? Who's my celebrity? Who do they confuse you for?" And Barkley said, "Shrek." That shit was classic. That's Charles Barkley. He shows the difference between, like, he's not also super analytical and he's wrong about a lot of stuff, and he could be dead wrong about it. Like you didn't put any thought into that, but you do, like, even outside of that show, I don't care for Barkley, to be honest with you. He's all right in guest spots here and there, but JJ Redick would need comedic relief with a Charles Barkley there. Because to be honest with you, who is, like, JJ Redick thinks he's like the Carl Sagan of basketball talk, and that spot's already given. We have so many outlets for that with Ben Taylor and all these other guys. I watch there's a lot of guys up there that do that, but Barkley, even when he said up there,
hearing it from a player is gonna be a little different. Like hearing it,
I don't agree with that.
We can agree to disagree on that. Hearing it from a player and not hearing it from Zach Lowe and Brian Windhorst and things like hearing it from a guy that actually played and being able to break down.
So let me ask you this. Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, it's just gonna be. I'm talking about to the world when they're digesting it, and he's sitting with some people's greatest player of all time. Like, let's add that into the mix. Look who he's sitting across from. Like, we'd be able to critique this all we want. People are gonna like love this just for the fact that that's who he's sitting across from.
I think this is my opinion, but if I think about you as a player, as you're breaking the game down, you're not doing your job. I don't think about Chris Collinsworth having been a great wide receiver in the NFL, or a good one, while he's calling the game. I just know that he played football. I don't even think about that. He's calling the game really well. When JJ Redick is breaking the game down, I forget that he played, because I'm just so into he's so invested into how he's delivering this information, which has nothing to do with delivering a pass, a shot, a play on the court.
I think you would be the part of the minority, though, and that's cool. I appreciate that you are like that. You know what I'm saying? Because not everybody could do that, but I would think that you're a part of the minority. Like most will be intrigued because they can say, wow, this dude can relate to what he's talking about. He's actually come off that screen on that baseline out of bounds play, like LeBron said, like JJ coming off the screen on the left to right, catching it. Like, he's done that before. So when there is a level of you talking to me about breaking down something on the basketball court and me actually, you know, going back and finding the clip of him actually doing that, the correlation is what I'm talking about. Not you're great. I think all three of us, anybody that talks the game and can actually break it down, I respect it. And I don't care if you play the lick of basketball, right? We know how to differentiate that. I think that we are part of the minority. And there's not many people that are able to do that genuinely. And I think, you know, because he is, you know, being a former player, you know, people are going to love that.
You know,
But
I was going to say, this is, no, actually, I forgot my train of thought. Keep going, Fabian.
I'm sorry. I agree. I understand what you're saying in terms of the entertainment value of that, because that to me is entertainment value. The fact that he played and you can connect the dots. Oh, he really did that. Oh, wow, he really lived that life. All right, cool. But is the song good? Was the song good? Because everybody thought Usher's Confessions was about him, and it wasn't. And we found out it wasn't. It was like, so the song isn't good no more? Nope. Still dope. Still classic. Still classic. So for me, with JJ Redick, it's like, even if I could be as good as JJ Redick explaining a game, if somebody says, but could you make that play though? It's funny. You bring the entertainment side to it, but the value in anyone breaking the game down for me is breaking the game down. I forgot Tim Legler played. I forgot he played for the Bullets, and I think not Seattle. I know he definitely played for the Washington.
Played for a couple teams, but
Oh,
I forgot about that.
The biggest hang up
That
that
people
people
like a fucking 10-year-old. Julius be doing the same shit. Oh, I remember now. It just pops right in.
dude, it was one of the biggest hangups is when guys like Shaq or Chuck will say that there's no defense being played in the NBA, and some dudes like JJ, for example, get so butthurt with that and be like, "It's just you don't understand how hard it is to guard and this and that." And like, there's valid sides to both, but I don't get why each side doesn't come to a compromise. You know what I mean? Like,
it's one of
there's definitely bad defense played in low effort defensively, but partially it's because it's harder to guard. So dudes are like, oh man, I can't touch anyone. I got to cover all this ground. They start dogging it. Watching the Clippers last night on defense, man. Is that a team that competed? I was at the game. It's a lot of games like this. It's hard to guard, but it's like, my point was, to him, JJ, there's nothing that's wrong with the modern NBA because there's people that are saying there's no defense. There's people that feel like we have people in media that hate on the game, that just don't support the product. Like, why do you have people covering basketball that hate it? You know, that's the kind of thing. And they want to be the opposite of that, of promoting it. But by promoting it, it's like, this is the greatest thing ever. And then everything in the past is old news. That's how I feel that. Hopefully it doesn't involve.
That's marketing 101. That's part of the reason why.
But let's be honest. Let's be honest.
And that's how I feel. I'm with Don on that. Like, let's be honest, man.
Not everything is better now. I'm sorry, but it's not.
No, it's not that. But then we're lying if we're saying we don't like the fact that they promoted Michael Jordan the same exact way. It just so happened that Michael Jordan happened to be the same exact thing. And when we see LeBron promoted as the best thing ever, it's like, this doesn't feel like the best thing ever for me, but for other people it does. So if you don't have that promotion, as it brings FOMO, it makes you feel like you're gonna miss out on something. That's just marketing, and that's playing into your human nature. Like, yeah, it's just.
I'm just saying, if Flea's saying the players want to be different, it's not just about marketing. Let's be honest.
That players want to be different,
meaning that you want to tell the truth. You want to have honest. The whole theme of this is honest basketball conversation.
Yeah. Oh, I agree with you there. JJ Redick is lying because of everything I just said right now. Why are you on First Take then? Stop lying. You want to bring more eyes to your game, to your podcast, and the JJ
1000%. That's a cat. Do you think he's annoyed by the premise of that show? Like, don't get it fucked up. Like, don't think he goes on there and he has to do his job and lean into things that they do talk. But by no means do you think that he enjoys that premise. If that was the case, I don't think so.
I think he's in the same conflict you guys are describing. That he does enjoy Stephen A. Smith. He's a funny dude. He's sitting there going like, "This Mad Dog is ridiculous. Why does this work? Because it's been working." JJ, you didn't figure out again.
TV, the TV aspect of it.
He looks pissed off every time he's on that show.
Because like
the conversations are too dumb for him. Essentially, he comes off.
Yeah,
right. But that's his shtick now. That's he's that character, and it works.
I think that's just who he is.
Yes, I think that's who Stephen A. Smith is. I think that. Look, see, y'all don't think that Skip Bayless actually is that. He is him.
There's another guy that's just like him, right? I think extremely great basketball mind, knows the game, has played with so many great players, right? But he understands the side of TV that you have to lean into being funny. He has a great personality. RJ knows the game of basketball. Can break down film, break down the X's and O's, helps you understand what's going on. And like I said, has played with every great player in the NBA that you can name, right? But he understands the balance of both. Being able to have a serious conversation about basketball and leaning into being funny. Like for me, I just think he has a great balance with both. And if JJ, wants to evolve into, a continued personality, I think that he needs to take a look at that and what RJ does, if anything.
To be honest, I think what JJ Redick is doing, even acting like he's a cult leader.
He's not acting like he's a cult leader.
Listen,
Jesus Christ.
He thinks Diamond's right. He does think he's saving the world, but that is the same thing Elon Musk did. Kanye West does. Like, that is what's gonna bring your bro. He has 1 million subscribers on YouTube. That's not. He's going to commentate the finals. This is amazing. Like, and I'm happy about it. I didn't want Doc Rivers up there. He's trash. And to be honest, if we're being real, get Doris Burke out of there. She's not entertaining.
You bugging.
No,
So
get Doris Burke out of there. If you want,
she's trying to get a little narrative-y, but she's a good basketball mind.
I'm not saying she's not a good basketball mind. I think Doc Rivers is a good basketball mind. I think Doc Rivers is actually very honest, but I don't care. He's not. It's not when you to replace hand down man. Even Mark Jackson got a little bit whatever, but I want to see either Richard Jefferson there alongside JJ Redick, or if you want to fulfill the whole quota, put Monica McNutt in there instead of Doris Burke. Doris Burke is boring. Monica McNutt knows the game. She's new. She's fresh, and she's fun. She's fun. Why the hell would you watch the finals and not have fun?
I have no issues with Monica McNutt elevating and being in that spot, but I also don't have an issue with Doris Burke being right there. They're both great at their jobs, and if you want to learn, because a lot of people don't want to learn, they just want to hear some funny shit all the time. If you want to learn, listen to Doris. It may be boring, whatever you want to classify it as. Listen to her. She's going to teach you while you watching the game.
Lex Friedman is boring. He has 1 billion followers on YouTube, bro. Doris Burke will not have 1 million followers on YouTube.
I don't give a fuck about that. I'm talking about.
I do, because I'm watching the game. If we're watching it again, it's a product. It's a TV show. At the end of the day, it has to be. We didn't have a problem with Mark Jackson and Jeff Van Gundy. It was fun, and we were learning. Jeff Van Gundy was going off, but we were learning. They would talk about the game.
I think Jeff Van Gundy was a pretty solid balance. I'm honestly really disappointed they got rid of him. People used to say, great example. He's the type of person they used to say was hating on the modern game. No, he was being honest about things he didn't like. Not everything has to be perfect. He acknowledged the shot-making ability of players. He gave some good X's and O's knowledge. Of course, there were times where he, Breen, and Mark, because their friendship would veer off and it became kind of like a podcast. And there are all those people that are going to say, talk about the game. But for the most part, I think Jeff was a decent balance. Stan Van Gundy just says run high pick and roll all the time.
He's horrible.
No wonder he's not a job.
Jeff is way better than him at that job.
At coaching also. And then, now that you say that, the perfect tandem would have been Jeff Van Gundy and JJ Redick, actually. Because you have the old guy in the room and you have the young guy in the room defending. That would have been, for me, that would have been the ultimate. Oh, they know.
On first take, but not during a live broadcast.
Nah. Remember, you're not dealing with two people.
Enough.
Huh?
So they already disagreed enough. Mark Jackson.
Right, but it's also.
But Breen is the balance, because Breen keeps everything balanced, and Breen respects. I don't care what nobody. Breen respects yesteryear, and
of course he does. The play-by-play guys are totally different. Those guys are like essentially like fans of the game too, and they've had the best seat. If anything, one thing we need to do as media or people in this sphere, we need to start talking to play-by-play guys more that have seen 40 fucking years of basketball courtside. Even though they didn't play the game at a high level necessarily, they're fans like us, right? Like they know these people.
I think when Breen, and every once in a while, he does it even more now over the last few years, but he gets in his bag talking like the game and not even just doing a play-by-play. He started doing it with Clyde. He started doing with, all of the replacements over there with the Knicks, and then on live TV, even with Mark and Jeff. He started talking about, adding to the conversation of what they're talking about in terms of on the floor. Like, so that's a great point, Dom. Like the dudes that have called games and stuff like that, regardless if you've never been in the lane of coaching and being on the sidelines and all that, like you right there. There. So you get it.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say, our play-by-play guy, Ralph Lawler, for many years, Clipper long time announcer, he even said he thinks LeBron is the best that's ever touched the ball, and he said it was easy for him.
He said that back in like 2009 too.
Really?
Like Lawler said there was Cleveland was playing the Clippers back in like 9 or 10, and I don't know. He caught the ball. He caught the ball in the fast break and took like 2 dribbles from the opposite hash mark, and got like to the dotted and threw the shit down. But he had an amazing game again. And Lawler was saying that this is the best basketball player I've ever seen in my life, ever. Wow. This is in 2009.
I might, if it was the home game, I was there. But Yeah, I mean, my point was, even though I disagree with him, I still respect his perspective. You know, he saw things firsthand. You know what I mean? What is that face?
Perspective.
Oh, right. Yo, before we leave though, Fabian, you got to tell Flea that argument you're having with me last night. I just wanted to hear Flea's reaction because I think it was.
I told him earlier. I think he Dime
Well,
thinks
he
you're
asked,
gonna.
how was it compared to me?
And we'll ask him now. Dime thinks. Well, when I say Kobe should have played more like Penny, and stop trying and not be as like Mike as more, I would have had him in my top 3 because that's what I wanted him to do, and maybe that would have been a better version of Kobe because it's more like, oh, look at what you see what Joker's doing. This is a 6'6" version, and that's what Penny did. But he's even a better scorer and stronger than Penny, and maybe he's just more realized he didn't get hurt, and just be a little more pass friendly, especially since he was a better passer than Mike. Do you think I'm bugging for wanting to have Kobe be more of Magic than Jordan?
Bugging, no, that's preference. That's what you have liked. But I think Kobe had the ability to do that. I think he showed that a lot. That first three-peat with Shaq and them, like Shaq would say it himself. The first 3 quarters, it was me. Bean would look for me. He would look for a lot of play. But that fourth quarter, we knew that we had a young cat that wanted to rock. And he was gonna go get it. So I think, and then what he involved into the second half of his career. I mean, aesthetically, it would have been nice to see him be more pass friendly, but we got to remember who we're talking about. This guy admittedly did not trust anybody that he played with. Very seldom trusted you. So, if I don't trust you, it's crazy to be such a winner. Have to like play with so many guys, but admittedly say out your mouth, like, I didn't trust a lot of guys that I played with because everybody didn't work as hard as me. So I don't know. For preference and what it would have looked like, I think he would have been a great player. I don't think we would have looked at him the same way we look at him today had he played more like Penny. But I don't think it would have been a bad player. I'm just to sum it all up. I love the Kobe Bryant that we got a chance to see. I'm gonna roll with that.
Way more friendly than me, wasn't he, Fabian?
He thought you were gonna go crazy. I mean, I'm like, I think Flea understand. Like, if I'm getting into my conspiracy bag, then Flea goes, "Get out of here!" And
Yeah.
But when but you know what, Dom, I do pause. I soften him up because I'll say like, he doesn't have the ability to do like what Penny did. So I sneak in these words where I got him to go, oh, he disarms himself, and he'll go like, yeah, of course.
I'm very harsh against it. I think Kobe Bryant thinks the game as somebody who you can't guard me and you better double me. That's how he starts to think every game on the basketball court. So he is a score first guy. You need score first guys. You can have your Magics and your Jokic's and your LeBrons, but Kobe is a scorer first by nature. He's one of the best 3 scorers to me that's ever lived. So I wouldn't change anything about him. And I was asking Fabian, said, besides 04, what series did Kobe lose because he was too selfish? Because in my opinion, as Kobe said himself on All the Smoke, you don't get 5 rings by being selfish. And he had to lock in to win. And what I mean by lock in is trust those guys. And in 09 and 08 and 10, even though he didn't win in 08, he trusted his guys. Of course, there were some stretches in games where, okay, Kobe, you gotta chill a little bit, go back to trusting your teammates. But that team, the Vujicic, the Farmars, the Pau Gasols, the Arizas,
giving up that 3-1 lead against Phoenix, he dogged that.
True, but here's the thing. In game 7, he got everybody involved. He tried to get good shots, and they didn't come through.
Yeah, you asked the question, and I love Bean's my favorite player of all time. So yeah, you know how I feel about. But if I had to think about it, like 04 definitely.
Majorly. That was obvious.
Yeah, 6 is 6 or 7. What's that when they gave the 3-1 lead? That's I think
06.
That's 06.
Well, see, here was the thing about 06, right? In game 6, he dropped 50 points, and they were 1 rebound away from winning.
Yep.
Then he ran out of gas in overtime. So they're like, okay, let's even get the guys involved to start this game because Phil said he wasn't going to beat him by himself. You know what? One of these weekends I see Phil, I'm going to ask him about that game and see if he actually answers me. I'm going to give an answer. I'm going to break the world. I'm going to break the news. I'm going to get it on there. And we're going to see what Phil says.
You counter Dom. Dom loves doing this. Ask you a question, you answer it, and argues with your point of view, like your opinion. That like you, it's your opinion, and he'll argue like, no, you're not supposed to think that way. Like, no, this is what I think, bro. You asked me a question.
Okay, so 06 and 04. But 06, he didn't shoot too much, though.
That's the only 2 times. After that, I can't think of any other playoff series where I don't feel like he was
cost the team with selfishness.
Yeah, like I can't.
I know.
Even that series against Boston in 08 in the finals.
That was definitely not because of that.
But you asked that question to spin, and you guys think I'm the ultimate spinner. You spun my thing. I just said if he plays more like Penny, this is a different animal. He's coming into the league and he's getting everyone involved. The team feels different. What players do like that is once you come to a team and everybody's 35 years old, they look at you like, listen, pass the ball. And he's clearly dunking on Eddie Jones, going crazy on everybody, is turning everybody off. It's the total opposite to Magic. If he plays more like Magic, the whole team is behind him. They don't really have a beef. They're going to go nuts.
I have to say 2 things. You have to go to practice. But one, I wouldn't change anything about Kobe Bryant because what he accomplished is unbelievable. So when things happen like that, you don't change damn near perfection. You don't change it. Secondly, in terms of that point guard conversation, the Kobe won all 5 of his rings playing in the triangle. Shaq won all of his rings with another dominant scorer, not some pass guy like Penny, a dominant scorer that could pass. He won with Wade and Kobe Bryant, and the triangle offers it's not an offense that involves a traditional pass first point guard that dominates the ball. You work out of your scoring options in the post, and that's what Kobe Bryant does. That's why he fits the triangle well. So there you go. That's my reasoning. He should not have changed anything. Long live Bean, the greatest.
He was capable of doing all of that. Was my point. So
Knock
it off.
He got 5 rings.
I think he becomes a different. I think we look at him differently, and that same mindset.
He's not as good.
I disagree. I think that same mindset, a Magic mindset with that capability, Magic didn't have the capability Kobe had no scoring in, and that's what I mean when he said, "Oh, he was the perfect player for his type." For Jordan was the perfect kind of scorer because fits his body type, especially for that era when he's ahead of his time.
Bean is a killer. We're not changing that.
Listen, Jason Kidd is a killer to me, and they don't talk about that enough. Like Magic's a killer to me. Joker's a killer to me.
He ain't the killer Bean was. You said Jason Kidd first. I ain't answering the other nigga. You said Jason Kidd first.
Fabian perspective, expected, so accepted. We're no longer. Are we live?
We are. Take us home. I'm out of here. Big
for TV. You already know the motto. They scared, but I'm not.